and he was getting ready to go and do 12 years. So therefore, a man getting ready to go do 12 years will do anything and say anything. And the government asked him to go out and not find crooked politicians. The government asked him to go out and make cases. So that just shows you about the criminal injustice system, not just for me, but many other individuals. In this state alone, for example, you found 17 individuals that had to be left off death row because they were innocent. The only one who I had questions about is a young man who pleaded guilty, because I could not understand how an individual could say that they took some glass bottles and filled them up with gasoline at a gas station when you and I know you have to have a red can. And I happen to have known that a young lady and another guy went to the gas station and got the gas and brought it back and gave it to him. So that's about the only one that I know personally that wasn't, that should have been in prison, because of the senior citizens that died and the blaze that was set. One of the other things in life, you know, years ago when I was doing social work, on the west side of Chicago, after I had been the president of the Miles Square Health Center, which was founded, and Miles Square Health Center got a $5.5 million building from OEO, the Office of Economic Opportunity. And after we got that, we were really servicing people in the Miles Square area, which was from Weston to Ashland, from Congress to Kensington. And we had what was called an associate agency, which was Press St. Luke Hospital, that maintained and managed the money until I became the president. And I said, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. We don't have individuals that are intelligent enough in order to be able to count our own money. Why would we pay $300,000 to somebody when that could be used in our community in health care for something else? So we took control. We incorporated the health center and made Daniel Cantrell instead of the project director, we made him the president and set up a board of directors of community residents. And the health center lasted a great deal, but they had plans for what was known as the Miles Square area. And the plans were that they wanted the land. It was then, if you remember, you had Skid Row over in that area. You had Madison Street. Now when you go in that area, you would never know that Madison Street looked the way it once did, because they had the Chicago 21 plan, which was put in by Richard J. Daley, where they intended to refurbish that area. For example, all the CHA buildings, if they follow the law, which they have not followed the law, the federal judge, Prentice Marshall, said for every one apartment you get rid of, you must have a replacement. And if you look around you, that hasn't taken place. What they have done is they have moved individuals who used to live in CHA out into the suburbs. They haven't followed Judge Prentice Marshall's order, but of course he's retired now. And no one is saying anything, and no one is talking about going back to court. When you look at the police department, Judge Prentice Marshall also said something about the police department. Judge Prentice Marshall said that you must have the Chicago Police Department 40% black. And I don't understand why Pat Hill and those individuals don't go back into court and have the city charged with contempt of court for not obeying the judge's order. I think there's something amiss, and there's something very, 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 very wrong not to do that when the judge ordered them to do that. When you go over to the Chicago Police Academy and you look around, you see that 95% of the people there don't look like me. Now there's something wrong, and that should not be. And perhaps then we wouldn't have half the problems that we have of all of this killing in our community, because you would have individuals who had come from these areas who know how to deal with certain people, that all people are not bad, that a lot of the individuals in our community are good people, and we could identify the bad people quicker than individuals who had never lived there. How would it look for me to go into an Irish community and pick out the people who were bad Irishmen? It's very difficult. But a black policeman knows when a person is bad, and he knows when a person's good. Vice versa, when it comes to Hispanic police officers. When it comes to them, they can do the same thing. But I think that we should have groups today that should follow up on what the judges, federal judges, ordered. I can give you an example. I don't really believe in the criminal, I call it injustice system, the way I once did. And the reason I don't is because I found out that it's not a just system. That right now, in the year 1972, they had about 220,000 prisoners in the state of Illinois. Now, they have over 1.8 million prisoners in the state of Illinois. And it goes back to what I talked about. It's a form of chattel slavery. That's one of the things that we must learn something about. When I learned my true identity, it brought tears to my eyes. When I found out, for example, the true story about George Washington chopping down the cherry tree, how George Washington signed a treaty in 1787, which was just recently renewed. It's the longest standing treaty in the world, with the country of Morocco, who owned this land, which was called Northwest and Southwest of Mexico, which was a part of what they call Africa, which I don't call myself an African American, and the reason I don't is because I know that Africa was changed from Kemet and Eden to Africa, named after Scipius Africanus, who was an Italian, Caucasian, paleface. And once you understand that, the original flag of this United States Republic was called Old Glory. And Old Glory was a cherry tree in the left-hand top corner, and it had a gray background. And when George Washington signed the treaty with Morocco in order to do commerce and trade on this land as the United States of America, not the United States Republic. See, the United States of America is a trading corporation. And when I began to learn those things, it brought tears to my eyes, realizing that so many people did not know the truth. Because if they knew the truth, they too would have tears in their eyes, knowing that the first president of the United States Republic was not Barack Obama, who was of color. The first president who acknowledged being of color was a man named John Hanson, a Moor. Now, if he was a Moor back in 1781, then that means that all the other people that existed back then were Moors. And with the Treaty of 1787, if you have your national identity as a Moor, they can't try you in these courts unless you have violated the treaty that they made with George Washington. If they have not done that, then they can't use their codes in order to do one thing, and that is to try you in their corporation. Because this is a corporation, it is not a country. The country is the United States Republic.